So we're gonna actually dissect this Coi Leray character and actually look at her video, watch her video, and react to it. This Blick Blick is buzzing. Do you know it's buzzing right now, Savory? Like it's
Yo, yo, Blick Blick. that
bro, like
joint, that joint got
it,
millions of views. I
it's
just
almost at
got put
7
on to
million
that.
views. It's
Look at
almost
that,
at
man.
7 million, and that joint came
Time
out
this
like a week
drops, will
ago.
probably be close to 8 already. That just gonna keep climbing, but it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah, we got a lot of thoughts on this.
It's Macho,
And I'm Savery,
and you're watching.
and you're watching Winks for the Nobody. Join us. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you never miss a beat. Share us and hit that like button as we break down politics and culture Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
The reason why I want to talk about this is because the minute I watched this video, I was literally looking through what's trending on YouTube, and immediately this was the first video this came up. Like this came up like I don't know, like a week ago, like not even a week ago, right? And I watched it, and initially I was just like, "What is going on here?" Right? Because there's a few things in my head when I think about rap, Savory.
Mhm.
Coi Larey does not come in my mind because of her image, right? So I see her and I'm like, yo, she's razor thin, bro. Like she's razor thin, and the reason why I'm saying that, guys, is that in hip where I grew up, I don't know how about you, Saber, but when I grew up, I only saw thick women and voluptuous women on
Yeah,
these videos. So seeing
especially in
her
hip
is
hop.
different.
Yeah, especially in hip hop is not the norm, right? Definitely not the norm in hip hop because um everything is so sexualized, right? So you're used to seeing, these curvaceous, I don't know if that's a word, but these, women in front of you show you a certain image of what's, when I saw Koi right there, right, in that video, for me, it was like, oh, he definitely looks
Yeah.
different. But oddly enough, talking about the same thing though. So that's something that stood out to
Oh,
me.
always the same
Like,
stuff. What was the number one, like the thing that stood out to you about her in the video, Blick Blick?
um, man, it never ceases to surprise me the how explicit this gets. The explicitness in all this is, I think, crazy, and I think it's always been. I know you referenced that a little earlier. It's always been, but I just think it's even more acceptable where it's the norm. I just feel like you had levels before. Some people went this extreme, some people
Yeah.
spoke this explicit. Now everybody's on a very in the very same level of explicitness where
Yeah,
they're
it
all
changed. That
speaking
changed
crazy, man.
when Trina hit the scene, bro. That changed. Like it's
Oh,
all
that's where it
explicit now.
started?
Well,
Interesting. Okay.
Lil Kim, you had Lil Kim too, Trina, but
Yeah,
Trina
yeah.
like really she pushed it, and then that was it. The one thing
Yeah.
that stood out to me the most, other than her being razor thin and the obvious, language of everything with the hip hop industry, was seeing her stand side by side with Nicki Minaj. Like seeing that, and here's where I'm going. When I first saw Nicki,
Mhm.
Nicki was really thin too. A lot of people forgot that,
Yeah.
she got a lot of body work done. But when I first saw her, like the first song I ever saw her was in Bedrock. I can make it bedrock.
Mhm.
You remember
Yeah,
that
yeah,
song?
yeah.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like that was the first time I saw Nicki, and Nicki was thin, not razor thin, but she was thin then, really thin.
Mhm.
But even before that, I heard, and there were pictures of her, like even Nicki was like razor thin too. But the social demand was for her to get thick, right? She had to live up to this persona.
But she didn't
And
come as thin as Koi like that, right? I don't think like
no, she
Koi,
wasn't. No, because when she hit
cause
the
yeah.
scene as the Minaj that we know,
Mhm.
because remember Nicki, she was rapping early, like back in the day when she was in Queens. She was hitting the scene early, and she was razor thin. She was thin, but she didn't
Mm.
hit mainstream. When she hit mainstream, she was
Got you.
she had
That's
added
part of
body
what helped her hit
parts. Yeah,
mainstream, though. But Koi, that didn't help her hit mainstream because she's not like that. So it's very interesting to me that because I think part of the sell for Nicki is she did that before she went mainstream in hopes to push her credibility and looks and what people want. Coi is mainstream right now without doing that. Why do you think that is? That's very interesting.
Well, I think there's a number of factors, right? And that is this. One, you know who her dad is, right?
Nah,
Benzino. Yeah.
really?
Yeah, her
That's
dad
her
is
dad?
Benzino. Yes.
Damn, bro. We
So, yeah.
failed.
But of
Damn,
course she's
bro.
gonna, she's gonna have connections in
Damn,
the
we
rap
yo,
industry. I know
yo,
Eminem. I know Eminem finished Benzino. I know he did, but he's, Benzino still has connections, right?
yo, bro. Benzino failed as a dad, bro. That's all I gotta say.
But before we get there, before we get
Damn, I
there,
ain't even know that, bro.
so the other point that I wanted to get at, right? The other point I wanted to get at is I, for one, I don't like the style of the song. I don't like the style of this video, honestly. As you know, I'm watching it and reacting to it as we speak.
Mhm.
Um, I really don't like the style of it. I'm not really with it, but I am happy that the hip hop industry is opening the door to different kind of women, right? Black women, they're skinny black women, and it's okay to I'm glad she's confident in herself, because back in the day when I was growing up, I didn't see that at all, right? There was no room for that, and we're seeing
Mm.
that now. And she's confident, so I'm hoping that she doesn't succumb, to the whole. When we did our episode on BBWs, the Brazilian
Mhm.
butt lifts, and then all the
Yeah, yeah.
implants, the Kim Kardashian, and all that stuff. This is changing the game, because I hope now she can stay confident in being herself, being natural. You know what I'm saying? She's you know what I mean? That's what
Yeah,
I'm getting
yeah,
at.
but I think it's the same script, right? When it comes to like what's accepted, right? Like she's only really accepted because she's being over sexualized in our culture.
Of
So for
course,
me, it's
yeah.
like I think the bigger conversation. I see what you're saying. You're like, all right, at least there's room for different people to have hope and not have a body like Nicki and still do that. But again, as long as you're selling people the over sexualization and the normality of just
Oh, it's
sex
terrible.
and woman
Yeah.
and power, that's kind of like what kind of empowerment they're pushing, which is no empowerment at all.
And
So at the end
and
of the day, in
and
my thoughts, so that's the same thing they're pushing.
and the irony, Savory, is that women want to be seen as, a person, not as an object, right? They want to be not sexualized, seen as something that we just use, men as
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like that. Anyways, there's a fundamental difference between her and someone like Rico Nasty, right? Rico Nasty, she's buzzing too, similar body
Hmm.
style, maybe a little thicker than her,
A little thing I would
but
say, yeah.
they're pretty much similar in image,
Hmm.
right?
They're not
Difference.
the norm from hip hop
They're
that we've
not
seen growing up. That's the big
exactly
thing. They're not
that
the
that
norm.
they're breaking this barrier, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And specifically, there's a fundamental difference, because when we watch their video, Coi Larey's Blink Blick Blick Blick, right? And then we
Hmm.
watch Rico Nasty's last hit video of OH, FR question mark, right? We
Yeah,
watched that
yeah.
video, and we looked at it, and I said I like this video better than Blick Blick Blick, and you
Yeah,
said,
yeah.
what was your initial reaction to that?
Yeah, yeah, I said me too. Yeah, yeah. And the main reason for me was it stepped out of the mainstream kind of sexualization, right? Even
Right.
though all of them have some kind of focus in that, I felt like she stepped out of that in a different way where you saw at least some creativity where you're like, okay, you're not trying to be another um replicate of Nicki doing your
Right.
own version of Little Kim, doing your own version of Trina. You're actually doing something different, it seemed like, which
Right.
I thought was dope on the creative sense. Yeah. So
Well,
I thought that
I
was dope.
agree. I think Rico Nasty does have a lot more creativity and pushing the boundaries, like her style, her fashion, her
Hmm.
music, stuff like that. But the fundamental difference between the artists is one makes music for the strip club and the other one makes music for your car radio. Now, look, don't get me wrong.
Mm.
I know people are probably going to be like, "What is this dude talking about?" Look, we all know the difference. There's strip club music. We know what gets popping out there, like the Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, that joint. And
Mhm.
yes, you can listen to it in your car, but it's it's mainly buzzing for the strip club vibe. Right
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
and then you have that different element like Young Ma. Like I don't think Young Ma is going to be playing in a strip club as often as it would be playing out in the hood, like people riding around in
Mhm.
their cars, stuff like that. So I mean, that's the fundamental difference of the
Yeah.
two. And I think overall, though, there is an extreme sexualization, and it definitely opens the door to these weird issues that we're having in society of like you know,
Mm.
um, relational discussion, right? Like people taking
Yes.
like people like, "Oh, okay,
That's it
so is
right
this
there.
free game? Can we touch each other?" Or assume that, "Oh, I can hit on you." And then we're having these weird back and forths like, "Oh, why did he think he can hit on me? Or why did he think he can tell me I'm pretty or not pretty?" And it's like, when you
Yeah.
carry yourself a certain way and you expose yourself a certain way, you're opening the door to whatever somebody else says about you. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
and unfortunately, man, with this sexualization in the culture, when I look at the Black Hispanic community growing up, we come from inner city and all that. It's a bad way to teach young men, young women the importance of relationships. Forget about intimate relationships, just relationships in general, because then you got the whole take of you can't even be friends with the other sex, or you can't be with your boys without talking about these kind of things because the main focus, right? I've been around that circle and it's just not healthy. Once you get older and you realize the damage this does to a young man's brain, when you got hormones spiking up, when you got all the, I'm like, damn, not only do you have hormones spiking up, but in our culture, this is elevated where we're constantly, especially if you're listening to this music, which is as I get older, I realize the damage these kind of songs and music can do, right? If left like untamed and people are just listening to it like crazy, you think this is the norm. Sexualization rather than intimacy, rather than love, rather than marriage, rather than these important things, you sexualize everything, and your standard, even the process of picking a mate you'll be with is screwed up, man. You don't know where
yeah,
because you're
yeah.
starting at the wrong place, man. So
Your standard
yeah,
now is Nicki Minaj or
exactly.
Beyonce, or
So you
it's
miss out.
it's Rico Nasty or Coi Larey now,
Hmm.
right? So I mean, again, sometimes I think we're pretty shallow as a society in
Yeah, yeah,
general. We're a
yeah.
shallow
Me too.
society because we're so allured or enamored or captivated by what we see.
Yeah, and
You
and
know,
and and let me drop this last question for you, Macho. Do you think, like, when you think about how love is defined, right? What I'm realizing is what defines that is the norm you have in your culture, right? So let me go a little deeper, for
yeah,
example,
but
right?
I don't think we're gonna be thinking about love when we watch a rap video. Honestly,
Well, you eventually would be thinking about love, and then you only have what to recall love by. You only have what to pull back from. You only have your past, right? So if that's all you know, you can't just say, I am this age, right? I've reached this age where I'm ready to get married, for example.
oh, okay,
You're gonna
okay,
automatically reach back to what you know, and this is gonna
yeah.
play a part and screw you up in the way you look at love. So that's kind of my
Your
last thoughts there.
expectations,
Exactly.
how you carry yourself, all these kinds of things.
Hmm.
You're saying that it pretty much gets carried over, like it gets carried
Yeah,
if you
you
want to
can't just say,
hunker down and be serious.
yeah, you can't just say I'm done now. No, like you're gonna try, but at the end of the day, that's gonna influence you so much, unfortunately, right? So let's be very careful with that. Would be my kind of warning there, you know.
All right. That's a great way to cap it. Thanks for joining us and venturing out from what we normally do here at Drinks with a Nobody, but it still ties back into kind of our perspective, right? We grew up in the inner city. We know this world in terms of like, rap videos, hip hop industry, being fully aware of these things and how it can affect even our political world, right? And why certain people may have a specific mindset towards these things. So if you tuned into this show and you like this show, please consider clicking that like button, hit that subscribe button, click that notification bell. So when we premiere episodes Monday, Wednesday, and Fridays, you guys will be right there and available to watch our videos and continue the support. So thank you very much. And we'll see you next time. Cheers.